from the inside of these caves. They were built from the bottom up.
It's where that veil is thin.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about.
Mount Hermon.
Oh!
Okay. The flood. Different cultures talk about this giant flood. In Hinduism, they talk about this giant flood. And hello, family. Welcome to the new episode of New Life. And in today's episode, I'm gonna discuss with you about fallen angels, jinns, giants, ancient archaeological finds, and science and God, and a lot more. It's my favorite topic, so let's get started. I am basically an engineer, and with technology and science is how I feed my family. So that's very important to me, and that's why when I had to make decisions about my faith and all that, of course I would choose science. But then the problem happened that science does not have answers to all the questions. There is a lot of stuff in the world that science has no explanation for, or it just has some theories which could be wrong. For example, this Stonehenge. These giant big stones were placed in different parts of the world. You will find these structures. They think they put them so they could find out which month it is and which day it is based on the movement of the sun and the seasons. But what scientists don't know is how did they brought these stones to these places. Like, they didn't have the giant bulldozers and machines and all the equipments that we have today to move them. So how did they transport them? Similarly with pyramids, like, who built these structures and what is the story behind it? How did they build it in thousands of years ago? Like, how did they manage to build it without having the technology that we currently have? And then about dinosaurs. Quran doesn't talk about dinosaurs, so for the majority of my life I wasn't sure about their existence. Yes, that is very stupid of me, but I wasn't sure. Sometimes I thought maybe they just put the giant's bones wrong or something, but they did exist. So I really wanted to find something that would give me answers to all these questions. And also these Ellora caves, which are in India, like thousands of years old, and scientists till date are confused of how this was built, because all these were carved. This was like one giant big mountain of rock which they have carved in to make it, and it's not possible for human to build it at that era, and you would need a very giant workforce to make it. And if they carved the stone, where is the stone which they carved? Like, they would have moved it somewhere, but there is nowhere else they could find the stone. You can find the whole documentary of the natural history in the natural history channel, and they say like what has happened is it's believed that that's been cut with lasers, so the stones just melted and disappeared, the ones which they didn't want it, or become dust. It would either be like a giant beam of rays from the top, but in reality it was done from the inside out. So from the inside of these caves, they were built from the bottom up. Something built them. And the government have closed up these caves. It's not safe for humans to go there, because I don't think you will have any reception there. It's dark, and if you went missing, it would be very difficult to find you. So all these mysterious things which are around us in our Mother Earth, in this earth, how and where they came. So I was very curious to find out answers, and for me it was like, if I can get any explanation for these, that would be really amazing. And is there any explanation? So finally I find out the book that explains everything. Okay, let me explain to you. So basically what it's believed that, okay, this one was built with trees. So Indians think that it's some alien. There, I was watching a documentary about it as well. So there were some, by alien mean that something or someone not from this earth had given them the technology to build this, or they have built it, and those are the same people who gave them knowledge about astrology and numerology and pharmacy and all that. So now I had pulled the puzzle pieces everywhere, scattered them, and now is the time to gather all the pieces together and make. It's believed that the giants existed at some time that could easily lift these stones or the stones of Stonehenge and build these giant structures. And the book that actually talks about these is Bible. So in Bible we know that there were watchers. So the watchers were watching the humans from the sky, and they fall in love with women, and they came to this earth, and they knew that they have committed a crime.
Angels, watchers, descended upon the top of Mount Hermon. But this man, Sir Charles Warren, he was the chief of police for London or something. He wanted to go to the Israel-Palestine area and map it out. And he made it to Mount Hermon, and he said there was this giant ancient temple, this spiral thing. He said at the center it appeared to be an altar for sacrifices. But up there also was this giant stone tablet with these carvings and writings on it. They brought it back to England, but then the British Museum put it in the archives. No one is allowed to go and do research on it. But today, at the peak of Mount Hermon, is a UN lookout post kind of thing. If you're not high ranking, you cannot go up there. They have banned any archaeological digs, anything around that area.
Oh man. Not cool.
What's crazy too is some biblical scholars theorize that the transfiguration of Jesus also happened at the top of Mount Hermon. If the watchers descended upon this place, is there a weird portal?
It's certainly a place where that veil is thinner.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about.
Mount Hermon.
Oh!
Okay. So on Mount Hermon, these watchers, they descended and they made a pact that they're gonna be together no matter what happens. They knew they've done something wrong and they would have to face the consequences. They will face it together. And their story is in the Book of Giants, which is not scripture, but we find some of those references in the Bible as well about the giants. So when these watchers made a relationship with the women, the humans, they had children, and their children were a mixture of humans and angels. So that's why they were giants. And then they were eating way more than a normal human would do, and they start torturing other humans to provide them for food and stuff, and the things were becoming more and more difficult. And that's when the fallen angels taught humans. They gave them knowledge of pharmacy, the pharmacy and healing, different herbs, how to use and what to use them. And also they gave them knowledge about the astrology and the stars and how they move and the planets and these signs that you read, the Sagittarius and the Aquarius and Leo and all that. So all those knowledge and numerology they gave to the humans. And they also mixed, and they also taught humans how to fight. So they helped them build weapons. In the Göbekli Tepe, they found lots of stones where they have written. These stones are also similar to Stonehenge, but they have carvings on them which tells you how to mix the DNA of different animals together to build a new humans. And this is how they created those big giant dragons. And yes, the dinosaurs, the word dinosaur is not mentioned in Bible because the word was accepted in the dictionary very long time after. It was like very recently, or 1,000 year or something. I'm not exactly sure about the year. But the word dragon is mentioned in Bible so many times because these giant dinosaurs would look like a dragon to humans. And you can see how many times it has been mentioned in the Old Testament and in the New Testament. So then in Göbekli Tepe, they also find about the mention of a giant flood. Different cultures talk about this giant flood. In Hinduism, they talk about this giant flood, and giant flood in Greek mythology. In Greek mythology as well, there is also mention of a giant flood. So then God had to flood the earth. God had to literally flood the earth to rid the earth of these mixed race or these monsters that they had created by mixing lots of DNA and stuff. So a giant flood came to clean the earth, and they just took the normal animals, and that story is in Bible. So what happened to the giant? So giants, so either they had all of them with the flood, either they died or they hid in some caves, these fallen angels and these giants, in order to survive. And there is a mention of strange noises under the Euphrates River, and also these caves also remind me of that. So maybe they were hiding here, and then from inside they built it out and they came out of it. Just a theory, but it's very plausible. And when the giants died, because their spirit was not pure, it's not human, it's not angel, it's a mixture, it's not pure, so they were cursed to stay on this earth. And they are the spirits without body, and that's what in Christianity they call them demons, and in Islam their spirit is called jinns. And there is God and there is devil. I'm talking a lot of stuff here, but it's all very interesting to me. So some humans, they make connection with these devils. So if you are not with God, then you're vulnerable to these spirits, and you will be their easy target. So for you just to say like, oh, nothing exists, close your eyes and just like believe in science and everything is happy days, I don't think that's such a great idea. Yes, 100% believe in science when science is telling you about electricity and physics and like gravity and its mechanics and all that, then yes, like or some treatment. But when science start talking about the history, I wouldn't be too sure to start taking that seriously. That's the message I want to give you. Okay, so for example, you have a heart surgeon, which is a very amazing heart surgeon. He can do surgery, he has expert, he's done so many surgeries and so many people have survived and all that. But if your car is broken, you're gonna go to a mechanic. You're not gonna go to the heart surgeon, are you? Because heart surgeon is expert in heart. So if you want to know about the electronics and all the things that I mentioned, yes, go to science. But for history, you should not go to science. If you want to know the real history and if you want to know why we exist and all that, then you should go to a book which is thousands and thousands of years old, and the things which is mentioned in this book, you will find it had mentioned about this Nineveh and all this Egyptian culture and all that, and when the archaeologists, they go and dig, they find those things because it's a historical book. It keeps the record of human. Also, Bible is written by humans. So when you see Christians, I'm like, if you go to church or if you anywhere, like if you meet a Christian, they hold their Bible like this, and if they anything, they'll just explain to you like, oh yeah, this verse, you tell them about any problems, and like, if you read this verse and this story and this happened, and I think you should do this, and then you should read this one, and this chapter it happened something to the other human that will help you and all that. So they will explain to you, because this is a book inspired by God but written by humans for humans. So they always go to it, they read it, they keep it close to themselves. But when it comes to Hinduism and other knowledges, because it's like chakras and birth chart and kundali and all that, because it's like very numerology and very astrology, and it's like a knowledge not from this world. That's why in order to even understand those things, it's hard. You would need to be an expert in that subject to understand it. So when I make these videos, a lot of people, and I mentioned I add the link of Quran and Quranic verses and all that, but still they will say like, oh, have you asked for the expert? Have you spoken to some Arabic guy? Well, Quran is also a book written by humans. You should go and read it yourself. You can read it. Read the translation, understand it. Don't just memorize the Arabic. But because Muslims lived with Hindus and with other cultures like Buddhists and all that for a really long time, they think that they can't read this. Oh, you need to be experts like some guru somewhere in order to understand these things and blah blah blah. But no, that's not the case. You're not reading some astronomical works or like some projection of when Leo is gonna move there and where, and you need numbers to translate everything. No, that is not the case here. It's normal book written by humans for humans, so you can read Quran, you can read Bible, and you can understand. And the way of your freedom is through the knowledge. So read it and try to gain it as much as you can and free yourself. Well, in the end, my last message is, if you have to choose between God and science, choose both of them. Because science will teach you about the gravity that God created. You don't have to make a choice. You can follow God and science together. If anybody is asking you to choose between them, they are misguiding you. You choose both of them, but please, please, do not follow anything blindly. That's all. If you do not follow it blindly, keep an open mind, learn and research, you're good. Anyway, I hope this video was interesting to you. For me it was, because I'm very interested in all these subjects. I will do more videos in this in future. If you want me to do go into more detail about these things, you can let me know as well. And I hope that God blesses everybody who watched this video. I hope God blesses you and your family with lots of happiness and gives you all strength and patience and wisdom. Take care of yourself and your family, and I will see you in the next one.